So welcome to the next episode of the Master design for Save the Duck. Today we'll be talking about our concept for Barcelona. So here it goes. This is Save the Duck and the Three Flames of Barcelona. The first thought we had when approaching this design topic was really Barcelona itself. It's such a complex and vibrant city. It is the capital of a very important region. It is one of the most culturally rich and artistically vibrant city in the world. Not only that, but also has the most incredible relationship with the sea and an astonishing range of mountains behind. But Barcelona is all about diversity. It's about the richness of many a soul. So the first question is how to position our new role within this complex, emotional, artistic and evocative landscape. So in other words, do we cater for the kind of Barceloneta population? So the holiday goers, the sports, the sea, or do we relate more with the urban lifestyle of Barcelona? Is it grid really that shall trigger our imagination? Or the third example, should we go up on Montjuic? Should we kind of look at the city from above? Should we relate to its historical reference and and landscape contours? So it is, as I said earlier, it is about diversity, and what we need is something that could, in one synthetic gesture, harness together and embrace this diversity. In other words, we need a story. We need a myth. We need a clear and powerful narrative that can gather together all these elements. Even more than that, we need a story that could combine together Save the Duck values with local characters. So the power of the myth is that it in a narrative, in a synthetic, in an artistic way, conveys much cultural, philosophical and ethical values. So in a way, when we talk about brand mythology, we want to create a powerful synthetic narrative device that could, in a kind of spearheaded way, it could inject the brand values as fast as possible in the local population. How do you do that? By connecting the brand values with the local character. So it would be great to write this piece of narrative writing. It would be great to imagine how to then translate the brand myth of Save the Duck in Barcelona into a plethora of different tools and different languages. So starting to sketch the elements, we could imagine that the myth is organized, is arranged, is based on three characters. The three characters are all women. The first one could be called Carmen. She's a model. Also, she's a kite surfer, so a very sporty female figure. And she's also a keen vegan. So maybe she has a very popular vegan blog. The second character is called Josefa. She's a fashion designer, a cyclist, and also she's one of the founding members of Sea Shepherd Spain. So it's also a volunteer cleaning up the oceans. And the third character could be Isabel. She's a photographer, a rock climber, and a PETA activist. So she's all about animal rights. So the three of them come from Barcelona. They are between 25 and 35 years of age. And, they carry the story of Barcelona within their own narrative, within their own biography. They're longing for a better relationship with the planet. They're longing for a better fashion, and somehow along their stories, they will be brought together by the discovery of Save the Duck. How? Well, that is the story to write. The power of having a myth is that once the mythology is crafted, this will ensure perfect coherence all across the marketing experience of Say the Duck. Once Say the Duck and the Three Flames of Barcelona is written, is created, is forged, then this will guarantee coherence across bespoke visual merchandise, ad campaigns, social media targeted campaigns, short films, photo shoot themes, or even a comic book for in-store experience or a cartoon. Everything comes from the solidity and the clarity of the myth, because let's not forget, mythologies build religions, and religions are pretty good at sticking with people. So, this is the main narrative structure that we want to at least refer to or be inspired by. If the story, Save the Duck and the Three Flames of Barcelona, is our high-level approach to how to penetrate into the local market. At the same time, we want to recreate such experience, in the physical experience of the shop. So the same story, the same mythology should be perceived in the various marketing tools, but also felt and experienced in the space. So let's look at the space. The shop is fantastically positioned a couple of blocks away from Paseo de Gracia, very close to Casa Batlló, and next to in between the metropolitan stations of Paseo de Gracia, Urquinaona and Girona. So brilliant position, although not quite on the main avenue, on the main boulevard. So it's quite important that whatever footfall we find along Diputación, we need to gather in. We need to kind of make them turn into our unit. How? Well, again, it's all about the power of this narrative. So the same story should be used to craft the physical experience of the store, and first of all, the front entrance, so the storefront, the shop window, really should be the gateway, should be the first page or the hardcover of the book. It's the gateway into a new dimension. Internally, the reference to the three systems of the city, the mountain, and the sea should be used in details and small reminders in the choice of decorations and messages and little clues inside the shop. Again, the structure of three is in the interior design used to progressively attract visitors and turning them into customers. From the outside, there is a kind of a first focus point, which is most likely an idol or some kind of sculptural element. It will be quite big and quite well lit, and it will attract attention. So people will turn in just because they're curious about Focus 1, and as they enter Focus 1, they will see somehow, some way, half length into this very long space, which is the shop. Another focus point, another emotional connection, and something else interesting to go and look. So they will cross the space on the other side, and as they arrive already halfway in, they will be walking through something like 80 products, mainly jackets or other products as well, hanging down, hung from our ribbon display system. From the second focus point, they will then have direct view of the main idol, which will be placed above a gigantic oval mirror, which will also define the entrance point for the fitting room. As we explored in the past, the fitting room really is where the magic happens. It's where normal people become superhero. And this is, again, in coherence with the original concept that Marcel produced for the design competition. Save the Duck is not a brand, is a movement. The jacket is not a jacket, is a super suit. Therefore, the fitting room has the same power that the phone box has for Superman. It'll turn a normal person into a superhero. So in this diagram, we say the Homo sapiens enter this way and Save the Duckers go out the other way. So in essence, the shop is about 11 meters long in the front of house, in the sales area, about 4 meters wide, and it's got 3.5 meters deep back of house space at the back where storage, the fitting room and toilet will be placed. But also it's worth noting that unlike any of the spaces we worked with before, the space in Barcelona has fantastic textured walls, which is really just what they did with the space beforehand. So I kind of spoken with Aaron about it, and he told me what they did, and it's quite fascinating. And it's a beautiful texture that we should use and we should enrich with our own messages on it. The other element is that we've got a fantastically high ceiling, which is for us to use. So whether in the past we had a bit of a clash between having idol and mannequins and ribbon all together competing for space, in this store we will have also the height by which we can place things at a higher level. So let's say we could have the product experience a lower level and the brand experience a higher level, and this is basically doubling up our surface for interior design. So moving from the concept to an actual design layout, also using the design manual component, we very quickly structured the space in a very clear way. We've got ribbon either side, we had a double desk because Ilaria told us about the importance of having one counter to interact with the customer and one counter actually to get cash payment and other stuff. So we've got two desks defining the space into half, a ribbon either side. As explained earlier, we have 3 focal points as you enter, halfway and in the end. The focal point always has a combined product and brand juxtaposition. So product at low level, so the jacket and the mannequin are built in the ribbon, and then the mascot, the sculpture, is hanging from the ceiling at higher level. What's quite special about the idol in the Barcelona project is because we are in Barcelona, and because Barcelona has the most ridiculously fantastic architecture that the early avant-garde of the 20th century produced, we have somehow to address that. So the idol will be framed within what we call the cathedral, which is really just a structure made out of ribbon ribs, creating some sort of peacock tail effect, and this will be placed at high level above a 80 millimeter thick disc, placed upon a little alcove, a little niche, where a 2.5 meters high mirror, so an over extended mirror component, will be placed centrally, somehow marking the entrance of the fitting room where normal people become Save the Duckers. And that's how it looks. Right, so from the right hand side we can see the MC module, so the quarter of a circle module, the mannequin underneath, and the first idol hanging from the ceiling at high level. Then on the other side, the same space is actually used for communication, so you always have this beautiful symmetry between one oval with a mannequin, one oval with communication. Then the big line of SKUs start, and then as we meet the other load bearing wall, we have now flipped the focal point, which is the one idol and a mannequin underneath, and then on the other side the communication oval. The structure carries on all the way until the end using 2 M90 modules, so creating the curve, and as you can see, the extra large mirror with the cathedral with the main idol on top is actually proud, so we come forward, come towards us. And as we walk into the space, we see ourselves framed in this beautifully kind of noble, some sort of the aristocratic mirror frame, and above that the idol with the cathedral of ribbon ribs around it. At high level, as we can see on the left hand side of the drawing, we've got some of our slogans like 100% animal free. And because the walls are already so rich in texture, we can really work with graffiti style graphics, creating a very powerful experience. On the floor, we will be using a diagonal grid this time to write down our slogans, our text, our infographics, and this will be in direct relationship with Barcelona diagonal grid urban pattern. So in summary, what we did, we started from the city, so we would like every project to be grounded in the city. We started from the city, understanding what makes Barcelona unique, and we identified diversity in culture, art, gender, sexuality, everything is about diversity, really, Barcelona. Of this diversity, we highlighted 3 themes that could be very powerful for Save the Duck marketing. One is urban lifestyle, one is mountain and outdoor, and the third one is beach vibe. So how do we address these 3 elements? So is it about Barceloneta, is it about the city, or is it about the mountains? In order to grasp the complexity and the diversity of these 3 nodes, we feel that we should be investing time in creating a piece of creative writing, in creating this myth, is developing the brand mythology for Save the Duck in Barcelona. How do we do that? By creating fictional characters. Each character represents one of the 3 nodes, and together the characters are the narrative vehicle that brings together brand values and local characters. Why do we do that? Because once the myth is created, then any expression of the myth is coherent. So as we said, the same story could be used to create a bespoke visual merchandise, or an ad campaign, or a targeted social media campaign, or a short film, or the theme for the photo shoot, or a comic book, or a cartoon. In a way, it is a second issue. What really matters at the beginning is to have this powerful storytelling exercise. What's also important is this power should also be retained and used in the experience, not only of the brand, but also the experience of the product. So as we enter in the physical realm, the shopfront becomes the hardcover of this beautiful book in which the story unfolds. So the beginning of the store is the beginning of the story. Inside the story, we explain how our tactics of incrementally emotionally charged focal points will drive visitors in and turn them into customers, and turn Homo sapiens into Save the Duckers. And in the last sketch, we kind of presented some initial feel how the space should look like. Obviously, as we move from concept to 3D, we will have a better understanding of the space through CGIs. So, to summarize all of that with some hard numbers, Save the Duck Barcelona, our proposal is for a shop of slightly more than 60 meters squared in overall area, so it's quite compact, 44 meters squared of sales area, and about 20 meters squared of back of house accommodation. We believe that we would have enough space to exhibit, to display between 80 and 100 SKUs, and for the time being we're focusing only on hung garments because they look better, and also because we got quite a spacious back of house, so we don't feel that we should be compromising on the purity of the design by using drawers unit at this stage. We have a very important fitting rooms, which is emphatically placed in the center of the space. As I said, about 10 meters squared of storage space, which benefits from very high ceilings. So we could almost have 2 stories back of house storage. One accessible toilet and a bit of circulation. In terms of design component, we have 2 half quarter, so MC modules, about 22 M80, which is a brilliant economy of scale because we basically only use that component. And then we have 2 M90, which we will use to create the turns, the curves at the back. 2 desks, counter, 2 graphic oval, 2 oval with 4 oval with a mannequin, 3 idles, and 1 mirror in the fitting room, and 1 extra large mirror, the 2.5 meter tall oval. That was it. I hope you liked it. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant working in Barcelona. The seating is so powerful, and then we just went there, had a chat with Aaron, created all this on the plane, and then didn't sleep since to pull it together. So I hope you like it. Over and out, Marcel.